For what purpose does the gentleman from Arkansas seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend the rules and pass the bill S.723.
Clerk will report the title of the bill.
Senate 723, an act to require the Bureau of Indian Affairs to process and complete all mortgage packages associated with residential and business mortgages on Indian land by certain deadlines and for other purposes.
Pursuant to the rule, the gentleman from Arkansas, Mr. Westman, and the gentlewoman from Oregon, Ms. Hodel, are each given 20 minutes to control the time. The gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days to revise and extend their remarks and to add extraneous material on S.723, the bill now under consideration.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
S.723, the Tribal Trust Land Home Ownership Act of 2025, sponsored by Senate Majority Leader Thune, would establish firm timelines for the Bureau of Indian Affairs to review and approve residential and business mortgage applications on tribal trust land. This bill also increases transparency and accountability in the mortgage review process and modernizes outdated systems that have contributed to delays. Because trust land is held by the United States on behalf of tribes and tribal members, mortgages on that land require approval from the Bureau of Indian Affairs before they can close. While current law provides review timelines for certain leasehold and rights-of-way mortgages, there is no statutory deadline for trust land mortgages. As a result, applicants and lenders have faced prolonged uncertainty. Reports have highlighted cases in which borrowers waited more than a year for the required title status reports, creating significant barriers to homeownership and business development in Indian country. These delays can discourage lenders and limit access to capital in communities that already face housing shortages and economic challenges. S.723 addresses these concerns by setting enforceable timelines for BIA review, requiring notice to lenders and a report to Congress, supporting the digitization of records, improving access to information, and creating a realty ombudsman to help resolve issues. By reducing delay and uncertainty, this bill makes it easier for tribes and tribal members to secure financing for homes and businesses. I commend Senator Thune and Representative Dusty Johnson for their leadership on this issue and for working to improve housing and economic opportunity in Indian country. I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves his time. Gentleman from Oregon is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Tribal Trust Land Homeownership Act would codify existing Bureau of Indian Affairs procedures for reviewing and processing mortgage packages on Indian lands. The bill seeks to improve access to home ownership in tribal communities. Home ownership rates in tribal communities continue to lag behind the national average, due in part to an administrative delays in the federal review process. In Oregon, state lawmakers have worked to address this challenge by creating a flexible grant program that tribes can use to address their own local housing needs. But it's still the federal responsibility to provide sufficient resources. Years of underfunding and understaffing at the BIA have reduced agency capacity and slowed down the review and approval of mortgage and leasing packages. Given the urgent housing needs in Indian country, it is essential that the BIA conduct these reviews in an efficient and timely manner. S.723 would help expedite the mortgage review and processing procedures and ultimately help promote tribal ownership. I urge support for this bill, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentlewoman reserves her time. Gentleman from Arkansas.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 4 minutes to the lead sponsor of the House companion to this bill, the gentleman from South Dakota, Mr. Dusty Johnson.
Gentleman is recognized for 4 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill, S.723, is identical to a bill that I had introduced here in the House, H.R. 2130. It made its way through the Natural Resources Committee, had hearing. I'm very thankful to the chair and the ranking member of that committee. Passed out of committee unanimously. This is a strong piece of common sense legislation. So what does it do? Well, first off, we know that our country is facing a housing affordability crisis. In Indian country, it's even worse. This legislation addresses specific and solvable problems that contribute to this problem on tribal land. And frankly, it's hard to understand what a big problem this is in Indian country. People can't get their hands on the proper mortgage documents. Because today, mortgages on tribal trust land, whether they're residential or commercial, must be reviewed and approved by BIA before they can be finalized. Now, the BIA has established timelines for that process, but those timelines are rarely met, and that contributes to serious delay. Native Americans living on tribal trust land, as a result, face a reduced opportunity, a reduced access to home ownership, to that piece of the American dream. Now, off-reservation, accessing documents like title records, that can be done in minutes. And insurance policies can often be issued in just a few weeks. But on tribal trust land, that same process is not completed in a few weeks. It often takes a few months, and in some instances has taken as long as a year. In a year, that sale can fall apart. A family ready to buy a home should not have to wait months because of bureaucratic inefficiencies. When the BIA fails to do its work in a timely manner, it is families and lenders and the marketplace that pay the price. The South Dakota Native Home Ownership Coalition told me of a scenario where they went to the BIA offices to try to find out how they could expedite these processes. As a part of that meeting, they discovered that 25 mortgage-related documents were stalled on the desk of the BIA agency superintendent. Mr. Speaker, that's 25 families, businesses, individuals whose futures were unnecessarily delayed because of bureaucratic inefficiency. What a profound, what an unnecessary harm. And so this legislation does, as the chairman said, it improves transparency and accountability. It establishes clear timelines. And importantly, it does not undermine tribal sovereignty or in any way weaken the federal trust responsibility. It simply makes sure that this process functions as intended. I've been proud to partner with Senator John Thune, who has expertly guided this through the Senate. And I'm particularly grateful to the South Dakota Native Home Ownership Coalition. They have done incredible work advocating for this solution. And so, Mr. Speaker, I ask my colleagues to support the Tribal Trust Land Home Ownership Act, and I yield back.
Mr. Speaker, I have no further requests for time. I'm prepared to close and reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves the balance of his time. Gentlewoman from Oregon is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I urge my colleagues to support this legislation, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentlewoman yields back time. Gentleman from Arkansas is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, again, S.723 promotes certainty, accountability, and transparency in the trust land mortgage process. By establishing clear timelines and modernizing mortgage administration, the bill removes unnecessary barriers to homeownership and business development for tribal communities. I thank my colleague from South Dakota, Mr. Johnson, for leading the House campaign to this legislation, and the entire South Dakota delegation for their coordinated effort on this important issue. I urge passage of S.723 and yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back his time. All his time is yielded. The question is, will the House suspend the rules and pass Senate 723? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, two-thirds being the affirmative.
Mr. Speaker, I request the yeas and the nays.
The gentleman requests the yeas and the nays. The yeas and nays are requested. All those in favor of taking this vote by the yeas and nays will rise and remain standing until counted. A sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, further proceedings on this question will be postponed.